I would like to tell you about the Beneficiary Identifier Research Report within the FedTransaction Analyzer service. In today's video, we will cover the basics of the report and provide specific use cases based on 4 roles within a financial institution. Let's start by looking at the data provided in the Beneficiary Identifier Research Report, which is a pre-formatted report automatically generated when you download a new file. Based on the reporting period selected and defined in the date range, which is row 7 of the Instructions tab, this report lists and summarizes FedWire value and volume activity by beneficiary identifier and business function code. By default, only wires your institution received and owner's wires are displayed. Data filters in the top left corner of the worksheet allow the user to change the snapshot for a number of field variables. These filters allow you to limit data for variables by sender, receiver, beneficiary, account type, and FI code, just to name a few. The plus icon next to the identifier allows you to open up details related to the wires that are displayed. Identifiers are ordered by total volume of wires received in that time period and can be double-clicked to retrieve the associated detailed wire data in a separate worksheet. Now that we've covered an overview, let's talk about specific use cases and how the Beneficiary Identifier Research Report can meet the needs of individuals with responsibilities associated with risk and compliance, payments, and other operations. We will discuss the following roles within financial institutions and how the Beneficiary Identifier Research Report can be used to support their associated responsibilities related to risk management best practices. If you would like to jump ahead to hear about a specific role you are interested in, please feel free to follow the prompts below. Let's take a look at how a cash manager might use the Beneficiary Identifier Research Report. If you are a cash manager at a correspondent bank, one of your responsibilities may include regularly reviewing transactions received on behalf of your respondents. In some cases, review may be hampered by technology, geography, or processing relationships. Using the Beneficiary Identifier Research Report, these types of transactions can often be identified by using the Beneficiary FI ID field and filtering by respondent routing numbers. To view transactions originated to your respondents, unselect your routing number in the Beneficiary FI ID filter. You can also use the Beneficiary FI name filter in the same way. From this filter view, you can double-click the cells you are interested in to retrieve the associated detail wire data for additional screening. Now let's take a look at how a risk manager might use the Beneficiary Identifier Research Report. As a risk manager, one of your primary concerns may be scanning for warning signs of potential future loss in the form of money laundering or fraudulent wires. A red flag for these types of activities can be wires originated by cash or check instead of a bank account. Generally, Federal Financial Institutions Examination Council guidance recommends monitoring accounts that receive wires not originated from a bank account. Using the Beneficiary Identifier Research Report, you can identify beneficiaries potentially receiving wires originated at the counter by looking at the type of account associated with the originator. Using the originator account type filter, deselect the D, DDA account number, and F, Fed routing number, to view transactions not originated in a bank account. Next, let's take a look at how a compliance officer might use the Beneficiary Identifier Research Report. As a compliance officer, some of your responsibilities may include reviewing the beneficiary accounts receiving international transactions. International transactions introduce a higher compliance obligation for depository financial institutions. Using the Beneficiary Identifier Research Report, depository financial institutions can identify beneficiary accounts with potential exposure to international compliance scrutiny. Wires originated outside the country will often use SWIFT identifier codes and can be filtered by selecting B in the originating FI code. Business identifier codes contain a 2-digit ISO country code, or CC identifier. Depository financial institutions can filter out the originating FIs with no CC or with a CC of US to see foreign originated wires. Finally, let's take a look at how a fraud manager would use the Beneficiary Identifier Research Report. As a fraud manager, you may be asked by local area law enforcement or other bankers to share bad actor information for fraud or money laundering schemes occurring in their area. Reviewing originator names for some of the known bad actors can help depository financial institutions get ahead of potential losses. Using the Beneficiary Identifier Research Report, you can find originator names embedded below the beneficiary IDs in the drill down list. Search by originator name in the list to identify beneficiaries that could be victims or co-conspirators for these potential bad actors. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Federal Reserve Financial Services is committed to providing the answers and information you need. For additional information, including screenshots, we encourage you to reference the FedTransaction Analyzer User Guide located in the FedLine Learning Center. The guide is updated to provide recent information regarding all service enhancements. If you have any additional questions, please call the Customer Contact Center or contact your account executive. You can find this information on the contacts page on frbservices.org.